Good evening to one and all. To everyone out there in Radio Land, regulars and first-time listeners alike, thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Sleep Talk, where we connect with dreamers around the world through the magic of radio waves. Whether you can't seem to fall asleep or you find yourself awake again, we're here just for you. Is that a shooting star across the night sky? Or a caller beaming us a question before they drift off to sleep? You'll find out tonight on Sleep Talk. You know, I often hear back from listeners that they didn't hear the end of our show. They were too busy drifting away into the gentle embrace of slumber. Well, that's just about the best compliment you can give me. So don't worry. I won't be offended if that happens to you. It's why we're here. Feel free at any time during tonight's show to fade in or out. If the Sandman comes knocking at your door, by all means, open up and welcome him in. Oh, I almost forgot. My name is Jim Moss, and I'm your overnight navigator of the airwaves. I'm coming to you live from the snug confines of my home studio, just outside of town. My space is admittedly an old-fashioned one, like the cozy basement you remember from your grandparents' house. I'm surrounded by old wood-paneled walls covered in thrift store paintings. There are 2 bookshelves in the corner, stuffed with books and old knickknacks I've picked up over the years. The books are a varied collection, I'd say. There are a fair few novels, but also a lot of biographies, history books, and illustrated bird field guides. I do love my field guides. It's not just birds, though. There are also illustrated guides to mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and even flowers and trees. You could say I'm a bit of a naturalist. In the other corner stands an antique grandfather clock. That old thing hasn't worked in some years now, but it really ties the room together. And I can't forget about my beautiful old Schnauzer Dottie, who's currently curled up at my feet as we speak. If I stop talking, you may just hear her little snores. Oh, before I forget, back by popular demand, here is tonight's Dottie Fashion Report. I've been told how much you all love to hear what she's wearing. Well, Sleepy Dottie is sporting a brand new sweater I bought for her just yesterday. It's a snappy blue color, a sort of a dark midnight blue. It's made of really soft, fleecy material that she absolutely adores. The sleeves where the legs pop through are trimmed in white, so she's looking quite fashionable. It's a very festive look overall, and Dottie really seems to like this sweater. As usual, I will be posting a picture of Dottie's outfit on the show's website tomorrow morning. Oh, yes. I can definitely hear her snoring now. Behind the scenes, we have producer extraordinaire, the amazing Linda. Linda will be answering the phones, playing the music, and generally keeping this show and its host on the rails, as it were. Sleep Talk wouldn't happen without her, and I'm so grateful to have her running things. Hey, Linda, do you want to say hi to the listeners? Well, there you have it, folks. That's Linda. How about this beautiful weather we've been having? Sunny and clear with that lovely, fresh, clean air in the mornings. It's looking like that'll be the forecast for most of the week, with maybe a bit of light precipitation by the weekend. So enjoy this weather while you can. Get out there and go for a long walk in the sunshine next time you get the chance. I hear that's a good way to get your melatonin. Melatonin? Linda, did I say that right? All right. With that, let's get on with the show. If you haven't already, now's a good time to get comfortable. Settle into your bed, a soft couch in the den, or even a comfy armchair. Are you there? Good. Now, you'll want to get nice and cozy. So if you have a warm blanket or a nice thick sweater you can pull on, go ahead and do that. Once you're feeling just right, let your eyes close. Now, let's get started. To begin, we're going to turn the show over to you. We're opening the phone lines with a segment we quite simply call What's on Your Mind? This part of the show is meant to help listeners let go of the things keeping them up at night. Let's get those busy little thoughts out in the open and discuss them so you can put them to rest. Or you can just ask me a question if you'd like. It's up to you. Whatever is on your mind is what we will talk about. Our first caller tonight is, let's see, Evie on the East Coast line. Good evening, Evie. Welcome to Sleep Talk.
Hello, Jim. I'm also a first-time caller, and I love your show. It always helps me to get to sleep.
Thank you, and a warm welcome to the show. What's on your mind, Evie?
Well, Jim, a few weeks ago, I heard you talking about how you used to have guinea pigs as pets when you were younger, and I really enjoyed all the stories you told about them. They sounded like such cute creatures. So I was considering getting one of my own. I was hoping you could tell me everything you know about guinea pigs, the pros, the cons, to help me make up my mind about it.
Great. Thanks for calling, Evie. I'd be happy to tell you what I know on the subject. So, I guess to start, let me tell our listeners a bit about the guinea pig, or Cavia porcellus, if you want to get fancy. To start, they're not actually pigs. They're kind of a rodent, like a squirrel. And I guess they're about the same size as a squirrel, but they don't have tails. They're really cute. You're right about that. Because they look like big, fluffy cotton balls shaped like jelly beans. And they have these tiny pink feet. They originally came from the hills of South America, Peru and Argentina, I believe. Well, anyways, when I was a young lad, my first pair of guinea pigs were actually a father and son duo, Peanut and Oreo. Peanut was the father, but he was also the naughty one. When I would feed them their vegetables, Peanut used to race around trying to eat all the best vegetables first. He'd carry some of the bigger veggies away and even tried to hide them under the hay. Fortunately, Oreo was a good eater too, so he always got his share. But feeding time aside, usually they were great together. They'd sleep in the same cube all the time.
Oh, Peanut sounds mischievous. But Jim, what do you mean by a cube?
Oh, it's just a big fabric cube with holes in it for them to hide and sleep in. I'd have 3 or 4 cubes in there at any one time, and I would mix it up and move them around to keep it fresh for them.
Interesting. So what kind of food do guinea pigs eat? I think I heard they eat hay. Is that right?
Yes, hay makes up most of their diet. My pair used to go through a decent-sized bale of hay every month. The moment they heard the bag rustle, they'd lose it. They start jumping and zooming around. It's actually called popcorning. It's a funny name, I know, but if you saw them jumping around in person, you would swear they were kernels being fired up in a pan the old-fashioned way. They would jump and run around sideways. It was really cute. But they also used the hay to hide. As soon as I put it in the cage, they'd both run under it. I would just see the big ball of hay moving around, and sometimes a little nose popped out. They'd sort of bury themselves in it for a while, play around in it, until they eventually started eating it. As a special treat, I would give them veggies once a day.
Oh, what kind of veggies? I'm a big veggie fan myself, so it'd be fun to go grocery shop for guinea pigs too.
Well, guinea pigs like all kinds of fresh veggies. I used to give them, cucumbers, carrots, lettuce, cilantro, and stuff like that. But their all-time favorite was radicchio. They loved radicchio. And for those of you who have never heard of it before, radicchio looks like lettuce, but it's not green. It's kind of purple. Well, more burgundy to be exact. It also tastes like lettuce, if lettuce were bitter, that is. Anyways, guinea pigs just love it. They really went wild for it. I gave them some every day, and that made them popcorn the most. Speaking of radicchio, that reminds me of another adorable trait that Peanut and Oreo had. When I would give them radicchio, the guinea pigs would both start weaking. What is guinea pig weaking, you may ask? Great question, dear listeners. Weaking is like a whistle or a song, a little sing-song. They both sang so loud for veggies. They'd start as soon as they heard me cutting up the vegetables. They'd hear me cutting from all the way in the basement. Then, when I would come down the stairs with their snack, the weaking got louder and louder. It was the cutest thing.
Wow, that sounds adorable. Jim, I think you've convinced me to get some guinea pigs of my own. Thanks so much. They really sound like the sweetest little creatures. Well, thank you for talking to me at this late hour. Have a good night, Jim. I think I'm finally off to bed.
That's incredible news. I'm happy I could help. You be sure to call us back with an update when you get them, Evie. Until then, take care and sleep well. Well, popcorning and singing guinea pigs, folks. You heard it here first. Don't say you never learn anything from the radio, my dear listeners. Okay, folks, now we're gonna try something a little different. We have a new theme, or I guess you could call it a game. As you regular listeners know, I'm something of an aspiring writer. Well, tonight, I find myself in need of your help, as I've been experiencing a bad case of writer's block. So, let's see if we can't fix that. This idea came to me through my daughter. She also dabbles in writing, and she came up with a game to help us inspire each other and get back on track, creativity-wise. We are going to open up the lines, and we'll ask that our callers provide me with 3 words. I will then create a 5-minute story using those words. Or at least I'll try. Perhaps this will help you, the listener, get some writing inspiration as well. Or some dreaming inspiration. Now go easy on me, folks, with the 3 words. Give me a softball for our first go, okay? I'll do my best to work with whatever's on your mind. So with that, let's open up the phone lines. Why don't we start with the first-time caller line? Hello, caller. You are on the air.
Hello, Jim. My name is Jenny, and I'm a first-time listener, long-time caller.
Don't worry, Jenny. I know just what you mean. Tell me, what's on your mind? And don't forget, give me those 3 words so I can try to tell you all a story.
Well, Jim, it was my birthday last week, and I got the best present I ever got, which gave me the inspiration for your 3 words.
First of all, happy birthday, Jenny. I hope it was a pleasant one for you, and that you spent it with family and friends. Secondly, what was that present? I'm so curious.
Thank you, Jim. I got a really fancy dream journal from my mom. It's like a diary, but it also has all these different sections that explain the meaning of your dreams. It's a really beautiful leather journal, printed on really nice paper and everything.
Wow, that's a really memorable gift. Sounds like something you can use and cherish for years.
It really is. So, are you ready for your 3 words, Jim?
Of course, Jenny. Go ahead. I'm excited to hear them and to make a story out of them for our listeners tonight.
Okay, so your 3 words are best birthday present.
Best birthday present. Okay, Jenny. I like it. Thank you very much for your call. I can definitely work with this. I hope the rest of your night is filled with sweet dreams.
Thank you, Jim. Have a great night.
Okay, listeners, if you'll indulge me, I have an idea for how to proceed. I reckon I'll try a nonfiction story. I suppose it's technically more of a memoir. Maybe another night I'll try my hand at fiction. Okay, let's get started. This is the mini memoir titled Jim's Best Birthday Present. When I think of my best birthday present ever, right away, my mind goes to a set of encyclopedias I got when I was 7 years old from my grandparents. I'm fairly certain they brought them from a traveling door-to-door salesman, the kind you only see in old movies now. The books were a rich, glossy, dark blue. Each one was quite heavy, or at least I thought so when I was a small boy. On the covers and spines, there was this gold embossed writing. Now, I remember that color so clearly because the shiny gold letters were the first thing I saw when I opened this present on my birthday. My family all stood around to watch me unwrap the box, grandparents included. My grandfather had a huge, wrinkly smile on his face. The boxes these encyclopedias came in were huge and heavy, too. When I saw how big that gift was, I had no idea what could be in there. There must have been 5 or 6 books in that first box, and the books would keep coming, 1 or 2 at a time, for many months. It was like celebrating my birthday every other month. Now I know that encyclopedias are dating me a bit, but that's how we did it back then before the internet, folks. There was one book for each letter of the alphabet, mostly. Some letters volume. Like, I think W, X, Y, and Z were together in one book, and U and V as well. I absolutely loved those books. I used them for everything: school projects, looking up information, and just reading random entries for fun. But there was one letter, one entry that I cherished above all others. It was the JK volume. In that book, my 7-year-old self came across the entry for South Korea. What grabbed me weren't the pictures of the Busan Harbor or Seoul Tower, or any of the information about gross domestic product or textile exports. What caught my attention was the picture on the 3rd page. It was a scene set around a little rural Korean farmhouse. Let me tell you about that picture. The sky is a perfect postcard blue. Judging from the color of the leaves on the trees and the jackets being worn, it looks like autumn. At the center of the scene is an old Korean man in traditional garb under a big tree. His pants and jacket are gray and free-flowing. On his head, he wears a gat, which is a hat made of bamboo and horsehair. Another good entry for Volume G of the encyclopedia. Anyways, the man is reaching up with a long tool to cut down plump orange persimmons. Next to him stands a happy little boy holding a woven basket, probably his grandson. He has chubby red cheeks and simple gray clothes, similar to his grandfather. The boy has a look of pure joy on his face as he waits to gather the persimmons his grandfather is harvesting for him. Part of the caption under the photo read, "Their home is made of wood and stone." That image just stirred something inside me. It sparked a passion for travel, for experiencing new cultures. It made me look to the horizon and wonder what lay beyond it. It still does. The purple, snow-dusted mountain ridges, the rustic house with the sloped tile roof, their home made of wood and stone. the apple-cheeked boy smiling from ear to ear. It's a perfect scene. I think that entry in the encyclopedia, that one picture, is what started my fascination with the Korean peninsula. I wanted to go there, to see it, to experience a little bit of that simple joy in the countryside. And as an adult, I did just that. Before my stint as a radio DJ, I lived and worked in Korea for several incredible years, all thanks to a page in a book. The winds of fate blow in mysterious directions, don't they? I love that set of encyclopedias and use them well. They served other purposes too, beyond reading. I used them as a stand so I could watch movies on my laptop, or to prop up jack-o'-lanterns in the window, and even as a little staircase for my old cat Ashes to get up on the couch in her later years. Those books were dog-eared by the time I left for university. They're still at my parents' house, and every time I visit them, I always take the time to leaf through one of those old volumes. And that, listeners, was the best birthday present I ever received. I hope you liked that little tale. I know I had a good time telling it to you. I reckon that the 3-word story worked well. We will definitely do another one soon. It's getting late. Well, later. So let's change gears and dip into the email vault on our regular segment, The History of the Mundane. What does mundane mean? Well, it means common or ordinary. But that doesn't have to mean boring. This part of the show is where I read email questions from you, the listeners, who want to know about the backstories behind common, everyday objects around us. The things that we never usually think too deeply about. I find that learning facts about random subjects is a helpful way for your mind to disengage. Tonight, we will briefly touch on 3 quote-unquote mundane topics for you lucky listeners. Let's get started on tonight's History of the Mundane. Our first email comes from Louis, all the way in Rennes, France. I guess this means our show is going international. As I was, or I should say, Louis was saying, Bonsoir, Jim. Why are pencil erasers pink? Straight to the point, and a great question to boot. Like many of the things we discuss on the History of the Mundane, it's something I've never thought about until right now. So, Louis, I took a deep dive into why erasers are pink, just for you. Our look into the humble eraser starts back several hundred years ago, with bread, of all things. Yes, I was surprised to learn that people used to use stale chunks of bread to erase away their mistakes. Can you believe that? How did they figure that one out? Well, that crummy situation carried on until about 1770, when a fellow named Joseph Priestley discovered that the sticky sap from a particular tropical tree was better than bread for erasing pencil marks. Wow. Imagine thinking of swapping bread for sap. I wonder how he came up with that idea. Well, a backstory for another time, I suppose. After a while, Someone else had the bright idea to add ground up Italian pumice, which is kind of a volcanic rock due to its abrasive qualities. And this Italian pumice has a reddish pink tone to it. So when mixed with the rubbery tree sap, it gave the eraser the familiar pink tone we still see today. I find that fascinating. Who knew that bread, trees, and volcanoes could come together to help us correct our mistakes? On to subject number 2. I got an email from Levon in Montreal. I guess this is our French episode. Levon asks, Jim, where does table salt come from? Thanks for the question, Levon. Now, I'm no expert on this subject, so I hope you'll take my answer with a grain of salt. I'm sorry, Linda. I couldn't help it. Some of you may know this, but perhaps not everyone does. So let me answer Levon's question about salt, and let's get spicy. Salt is a spice, right? Linda, can we check on that? Is salt a... No? It seems salt is not, in fact, a spice. Linda is telling me it's actually a mineral used as a seasoning. Seasoning, spice, same thing in my book. Oh well. Thanks, Linda, as always, for the timely fact check. Salt is probably the oldest food additive in human history. I've heard that our ancient ancestors used salt both as seasoning and also as a method of preserving food. That must have been really important during those long winter months. And 2,000 years ago in ancient Rome, folks used to get paid in salt. That's why your pay is called a salary. It comes from the Latin word for salt, aka sal. Amazing, right? The salt we use on our meals typically comes from one of two sources. Most table salt comes from mining salt deposits in the earth, much like how we mine for gold or silver. The miners just pull it out of the ground, grind it up, give it a rinse, and put it in your salt shaker, I suppose. For the fancier cooks among us, there is also the option of sea salt. Sea salt comes from, you guessed it, the sea. The salty seawater is evaporated away, leaving behind the crystallized salt deposits. From there, the crystals are harvested and processed. Some people feel that the trace minerals left behind in sea salt add to the color and flavor of the food they season with it. I'll leave that up to you, the listener, to verify. You know, I have a little side note on the color of salt. I was at the grocery store the other day, and I saw some Himalayan salt that was pink. I don't know why it's pink, but I don't think it was because it had Italian pumice in it. Maybe I'll have some answers for you all next.